Good afternoon and welcome to The Lighthouse. I'm Ellen O'Rourke.
And I'm Amy Rigby. First, some breaking news. Julian Assange has been arrested at the Ecuadorian embassy according to UK police.
He's been taken into custody at a central London police station until he can be presented before Westminster Magistrates Court.
Relations with the Ecuadorian authorities have deteriorated over the last few months, ever since a new president was elected who wasn't quite such a fan of Julian Assange as his predecessor.
Our top stories today.
Talia brings us an update on the Mozambique humanitarian crisis.
And what we need to do is to move on in the neighborhoods, to deal with the people, to talk to the people, to let them know the need of this vaccine.
Kira gets us up to speed with the latest Brexit news.
Ali heads down to Gilly Beach to find out more about the anti-action protest.
Kira enlightens us on the new Light Up Campus plan.
Has Hollywood run out of ideas? MJ investigates the surge of movie remakes.
Cosmetic company Lush has deleted its social media. Joe finds out more.
Ellie gets the latest on London's new ultra-low emission zone as Sadiq Khan tackles air pollution in a world first.
And finally, Tom has the news for sports.
Now we hear from Talia to get the latest on the Mozambique crisis. She finds out more about the crucial cholera vaccination after Cyclone Idai leaves 3,000 people at risk of the fatal disease.
A miracle at last, as hundreds of thousands of vaccine doses arrived in Mozambique via aircraft in an attempt to limit the rapid spread of cholera caused by a severe cyclone that struck in the middle of March. Cholera cases have now reached in excess of 1,400, as vaccines arrive for those affected and in desperate need of treatment.
We are committed to doing everything that we can to support the recovery, most importantly to minimize the illness and loss of life due to this outbreak, and we will always be here as long as we are needed to provide support.
Authorities announced a second death from the disease, spread by contaminated water and food, able to kill within hours if not treated. The outbreak has grown swiftly since it was declared last week with the 5 confirmed cases, most of them in the hard-hit port city of Beira, which has been the hub of relief efforts since Cyclone Idai roared in on March 14th. The cyclone also killed at least 260 people in neighbouring Zimbabwe and at least 56 in Malawi, damaging and destroying 54 health centres across central Mozambique and further challenging efforts to contain cholera and other waterborne diseases such as malaria.
The vaccine is done to prevent cholera, and what we need to do is to move on in the neighborhoods, to deal with the people, to talk to the people, to let them know the need of this vaccine.
Beira, the city of 500,000 residents, is most at risk from cholera, but the disease is also reported in outlying communities in central Mozambique. Some 900,000 oral cholera vaccines arrived in the city for the expected launch of a vaccination campaign starting on Wednesday.
That was Talia for The Lighthouse. Kira's in the studio with us today to bring us the latest on the Brexit extension. So hi Kira.
Hello.
So tell me, what on earth happened last night?
Well, around 3 a.m. in Brussels, the EU27 agreed on an extended deadline. So the UK has until the 31st of October, or Halloween for any headline writers, to agree on a deal and leave. If that doesn't happen, then the UK will either crash out of the EU with no deal or require another extension. There will be a short review in June, and if the UK cannot leave by the 22nd of May, it will have to elect MEPs for the European Parliament. That's going to be painful for those people who wanted to leave the EU because of bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is that we've seen a real disagreement in the 27. France wanted a much shorter deadline, and Germany wanted a longer one. This is definitely a compromise. I think Theresa May will be thinking if only her MPs could compromise and vote for her deal.
So you say MPs need to agree on May's deal. Is there no other option?
The EU is clear it's not reopening negotiations, and May doesn't seem keen to move her red lines in her talks with Jeremy Corbyn. But that controversial Irish backstop isn't gone. The DUP, who Theresa May relies on, and some of her own MPs are unlikely to support a deal that risks splitting the UK.
So what's the impact of this?
Well, people just want this to be over now. It's likely to damage our political process. It already has, if you look at the complaints about John Bercow being biased as the Speaker. Businesses are going to face another 6 months of uncertainty, and the pound went down in value against the euro in the hours after the summit.
So what's next for Theresa May?
As much as she's gained more time, she's lost that pressure that was aiding her. With more time, MPs are going to be looking at the other options. Some of them are going back to those age-old things, the second referendum, revoking Article 50, or changing to a different model of Brexit, a customs union, or a harder version. There is a new option surfacing, however. That's the Tory leadership. May has said she'll go after her deal has passed, but as soon as the leader announces their resignations, the plots begin. Ian Duncan-Smith has set a date of late May for her to go. It may be that we have a 6-week Conservative leadership race that sends a new Brexiteer leader to Brussels, and that person tries to start the process all over again. Something the public and a lot of the MPs I've spoken to really, really don't want.
Well, thank you very much, Kira, and hopefully soon we can all agree on one outcome.
Next up, Ali heads down to Gilly Beach to bring us more on plastic pollution and the anti-action protest. Let's hear what he has to say.
So today we're down on Gilling Bay's beach. It's very picturesque down here, perfect for a selfie, but not perfect if you're looking for low plastic levels. As the summer season rolls in, more and more people are flooding to the UK's beaches like this one to enjoy the sun and the sea. However, they are leaving behind large amounts of plastic which can cause serious damage to local marine life. So in just 1 minute here, walking along the beach, I've managed to find 5 or 6 pieces of plastic. From electrical tape to plastic bags to even a bus ticket left here by previous users. We're here today in preparation for the beach clean that's happening later on. Volunteers have come from around Falmouth and the local area to help clean the beach and have a positive impact on our environment. This beach clean is part of a global movement against climate change. Protests across the world took place throughout March. The next planned protest will be the International Rebellion Against the Criminal Inaction on the Climate and Ecological Crisis. This is taking place in Parliament Square, London on April 15th. I've been Ali Vale, reporting for The Lighthouse.
A competition in Falmouth to light up the campus is underway.
As deadlines are fast approaching, students are working later and later on Falmouth campus. By day, the campus is bright and green, but by night it can be dark and hard to navigate. Some students have said they avoid the council-owned gardens and find the bottom part of the campus too dark. Do you think that it's too dark on campus at night?
I'd definitely say the gardens is way too dark because I really avoid walking through there at night. It's pretty scary, to be honest.
I mean, we walk through the gardens, but only if we're in like a group of people.
It gets quite dark on the hill, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, but
there's
I don't
like
think
one
it's
light.
Is it really necessary that it's brighter?
But definitely in the winter, especially the bit going through the gardens, because I sometimes park that way. That was quite dark. And I know people walk their dogs that way, so at night time, if you're walking back to your car, you're careful that you don't want to step in things.
Luckily, Interior Design are planning to create an outdoor lighting event to brighten up the campus. The course took inspiration from Ready, Steady, Light, a competition whose previous winner, Rosebruford College in Kent, set up art installations and spotlighted trees.
And there's a plan to sort of bring in new lighting and make it all colourful. Was there anything you particularly want to see?
Colourful might be quite nice, rather than if you're going to put lights in, do it colourful, why not?
Yeah. No, just not strobe lighting.
Yeah,
but yeah, any funky colours.
Oh, I don't know, but fun colours sounds quite fun.
Peter Howells, the head of property development, had this to say.
Do you feel like Falmouth campus needs to be better there at the moment?
I think in terms of it'll be perfectly adequately lit for compliance and safety. I think there's opportunities for introduction of feature lighting. It's quite a creative campus, so I think that there's very much the opportunity there for students to be involved.
This is Kira reporting for The Lighthouse.
Yet another new Cinderella movie is going to hit your screens. Is it time for Hollywood to call it a day? MJ finds out more.
2019 is the year for classic motion pictures being rebooted to match the modern era. It's become an ongoing trend to bring back the films that shaped the film industry. The Legend of Tarzan went from being the light-hearted Disney classic to a serious drama action film. The horror film It was remade 2 years ago, but one story in particular seems to constantly be remade into different versions. Cinderella was first released by Disney in 1950, and to this day Hollywood can't seem to get enough versions of the classic tale. It was announced this week that there will be yet another modern version added to the collection, which currently holds 40 different varieties. I spoke to academic Neil Fawkes on the matter, and he had this to say.
There is a definite argument for, kind of staying away from those old tropes, but, it's something that Hollywood has always done. So kind of revisiting stories and kind of trying to reimagine them for a modern audience, I think is a valid kind of part of cinema and has been since it started. So if it's good, then I'm all for it. And if it's just bad and kind of just retreading old ground, then yeah, we could do without it.
Singer Camila Cabello has been cast to star in the modern adaptation of the fairy tale. It has yet to be announced when the film will be released, but what we do know is that James Corden, presenter of The Late Late Show, will be producing. It'll be interesting to see how this remake will be any different from many versions we've seen before. I'm MJ and I'm reporting from The Lighthouse.
The cosmetic company Lush is having a social media detox. Joe brings us the details.
Social media may seem essential in modern marketing, but one cosmetics firm is tired of fighting with algorithms.
This is Lush's 100th UK store here at the
In a move that has been called bold and bizarre, Lush UK announced on Twitter that it would be abandoning its social media presence, saying goodbye to over 200,000 Twitter followers and 500,000 on Instagram. The brand prides itself on sustainability and ethical practice.
All of our walls are made from straw board, and all of our wood.
They currently post regular video tutorials on their YouTube channel. Wetherspoons made a similar departure last year, directing customers to their print publication, Wetherspoons News. Lush's following is significantly larger, and critics have questioned if responding to phone and email will be effective to maintain a community. The firm further tweeted, "This isn't the end, it's just the start of something new." Should the move prove successful, could this mark a turning point in the way we are sold to? This is Joe Bunkle reporting for The Lighthouse.
Next up, we hear from Ellie, who brings us good news about London's low emission zone.
In a world first, London leads the fight against air pollution with the ultra-low emission zone. It went into effect on Monday the 8th and will require vehicles travelling in the zone to meet tough new emission standards or be charged. The scheme will see nitrogen oxide emissions reduced by 45% over the next 2 years and is one of the most radical anti-pollution policies in the world. London Mayor Sadiq Khan says that implementing the zone is part of social justice as the city's air is a public health emergency.
The air in London is a killer.
Khan is also hoping to improve air quality for millions of Londoners by making public transport more affordable, introducing cleaner, greener buses, and helping the city make a move towards using electric vehicles with extra funding for more rapid charging points.
From next year, I'll only be buying the very cleanest buses. As far as double-deckers concerned, only electric, hydrogen or hybrid buses, no more diesel buses, and some of our single-decker buses will be zero emission.
According to the Mayor's Gov.uk website, the zone is already having an impact, with a 55% increase in vehicles driving through the zone meeting the new emission standards. Khan has declared it a landmark day for the city.
We're hoping it will lead to fewer people driving polluting cars, walking, cycling, using public transport or driving compliant vehicles. We're hoping it's going to be a success.
Hopefully the zone will make a big difference in building a future for the UK with cleaner and safer air. This has been Ellie Hanks reporting for The Lighthouse.
And finally, Tom brings us the latest golfing news.
One of the most famous competitions in golf tees off today. The Masters tournament has attracted the world's greatest players to Augusta National Golf Course with the aim of winning a famous green jacket. World number 1 Justin Rose is looking for his first Masters title and is confident going into the weekend, but tips Northern Irishman Rory McIlroy to win.
A lot of guys with a lot of confidence. Rory obviously hitting form, I'd say he's probably favourite, but that doesn't mean anything. The golf course doesn't know he's favourite. Dustin, you've got to go out and build a body of work. So, it's about execution, and it's going to be about the guy who manages to do it on the week. Reputation and form doesn't mean anything until you tee it up.
McIlroy is in good form this season, having arguably his best start to a golfing season, with 7 top 10 finishes, as well as winning the Players' Championship last month. The bookie's favourite has never won the tournament, however, but backs himself going into this year's championship.
To get that validation, the win at the Players, the close calls, the good play that I've had over the first 4 months of the year, it just proves to me that what I'm doing are the right things for me.
Former world number 1 Tiger Woods is searching for his 15th major tournament title when he tees off later today. A win here would be his 5th green jacket, taking him one behind the great Jack Nicklaus. Tiger is hoping his rediscovered form can give him the edge to the title.
I've proven that I can do it, and I put myself there with a chance to win the last 2 major championships of the year. I was right there, and just needed to have a couple more things go my way and not throw away a couple shots here and there.
This has been Tom Harris reporting for The Lighthouse.
Thank you very much, Tom. And what a week we've had.
I wouldn't be able to delete my social media.
It's definitely a bold move from Lush.
And that's all we've got time for this week. We've been Amy and Ellen reporting from The Lighthouse.
Thanks for listening.